Bitcoin Thursday update. In this video, we're going to look at the hourly, we're going to look at the daily, and we're going to look at the weekly. We're going to do it in that order. We're going to start off with the latest and greatest, the newest news, and then we're going to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, look at some levels that we need to be paying attention to. Also got an indicator that you need to be using, and one of the few certainties in crypto is that we will not be entering the next bullish cycle, the next full bull mode, until this happens. So look at that indicator, use it. Hopefully you're using it already. Anybody that's in my Patreon group should be using it. And I'm going to show you that today. Also, we're going to do a car of the day and quarter of the day as always. And our next Bitcoin update will be on Monday. Maybe, if you're good, a surprise Chainlink video tomorrow. Not a surprise anymore. Okay, so starting off in the hourly, what do we got going on here? Besides more of the same. So we have the Bollinger Bands, right? These pink lines condensing here and narrowing, right? Volatility narrowing. What comes after that? Well, usually after the Bollinger Bands start to pinch, a bigger move is coming. Now, you might notice this long wick here. So, we covered this in our Patreon group. You got more content there. So if you want more content up to the, more stuff, just join us there. Links are below. But as we move down here, I was saying that, normally you can get a fake out initially when these bands start to pinch. This usually the first move can be a fake out. And how would we know that that's a fake out or not? Well, if you lose your low here, right? If we were to close this candle under that low, like 29,560 there, right? This closing candle, 29,570. So if we were to close under that, that would, odds would increase that that's not a fake out and we would likely continue lower. However, we bounced almost immediately and now we ended up closing not only up here, but even more significant is that we closed above the, the median Bollinger Band line here. So that is the 20 SMA, that purple line. And then you have your 21 EMA and the yellow, which we haven't been able to close above in quite some time on the hourly chart, right? So look for that on this candle. Now we have 45 minutes, but after you're, as you're watching this, this candle's probably closed. There's probably several more candles closed. So what could you be looking for the rest of today and moving on? Well, if you want a explosive move to the upside, you want to see this, this Bollinger Band mouth start to open here. You want this top line to open up. You want this bottom line to open up, and then you want your price action to follow suit here, right? That's how you want it to do. And you want it, as this mouth opens, wherever your price action is, whether it's in the top half of the Bollinger Band or the bottom half, is likely the direction that it's going. Okay, just likely, right? No certainties in crypto. So watch that on the hourly. Nice little fake out candle here last hour. We'll see what we end up doing here. And then just pay attention and watch where you're closing above. If you start to close, a couple candles above your 21, then we might have a move to go back up to this kind of consolidation level up here, right? Then you want to be watching for kind of the resistance levels, maybe around just, 31.3, 31.5, something in there. And if we can, push higher than that, then we could be getting some more momentum to the upside. So I would be looking really, hands off, at least for bulls, until we start to close kind of above that 32.2, even 32.5, right? You can even, if you want to be super safe, and we close above, say, like 32.5, right above that line there, then you can zoom out, right? Zoom out to the 4 hour, right? And look at that, right? So if we take this out, right, that same bar, we would take out all these moving averages, likely the fake out down here, and then a bounce, and then a continuation and a breakout to the upside would be likely. And then our next kind of psychological level, our big level to be watching, is going to be somewhere right in here, right? 37.5. We've talked about this before as well. All this kind of the big support level kind of lost here. So until we get above here, everything else is kind of just should be looked at as a relief rally. I've talked about that before as well. Posted it on Twitter yesterday. Until we're above 37.5, we're just playing in the sandbox. So keep that in mind. So going out to the daily a little bit here, zooming out, right? We had a move up here, kind of a fake out, you know, in a bearish trend, right? Which we're obviously in. We're in a downtrend, right? When you're above the Bollinger Bands, it's difficult for it to remain up there, right? In a bull trend, right? You can go back and look at any bull cycle, and you just basically hug that top line. In a bear trend, you basically when you're at the bottom, you just hug that down line, right? So you just gotta realize where you are, and you know the odds of, you know, in a bearish market that you're going to remain up at the top of a Bollinger Band is not so likely, right? But you know, when we start to turn around for good, that could be the sign that maybe keeps you a little bit ahead of the rest of the market. So in order for us to get, you know, much more bullish, we have to take out this high on the daily, you know, 32.5, let's say 32.5, right? You take out this kind of high, this high, right? And we'd be kind of in a place we haven't been in, you know, a couple months. So watch for that, you know, close above your 50 AMA right here, 33.5, right? If all those things start to happen, yeah, as our bands are a little bit more narrow here, then we could be, you know, moving. But you know, also you want to be watching out for, you know, a move. You know, look at this here, right? The low, right? And then kind of a move up, and then kind of a move down, and then maybe something like that, right? And just kind of a fake out low, and then a move back to the upside. Maybe this is on the cards, right? This would fake out a lot of people, and really would just, you know, really would be almost a W kind of pattern here, right? Forming, right? So keep this in mind. For if you see us going down, right? This is a big if, right? If we continue up, right? If we bounce here and then, you know, move back to the upside, you just want to look for a higher high. Take out that high, and then when you come down the next time, you'll want to make a higher low, right? That's all you need to do, right? Just, it's real easy. If you know what the structure is, right? You make a higher low, and you could even argue that we could go all the way down here and bounce, right? And then go up higher, right? That's another one. Or, you know, there's a lot of different scenarios, right? It's not really worth it to be predicting anything, right? Predicting anything more than today or the next 4 hours, right, is just kind of somewhat obtuse of a view, right? There's your vocabulary of the day. Obtuse view. I don't even know. All right, so hopefully that helps you on the daily. Just something to watch out for. Like, close above moving averages, take out a high, or just avoid making a new lower low, right? Closing below 28.6 could get, you know, bring in back into this area, right? Okay, here's my alert. That would be a new low. But you know, watching for, you know, a lot. How many people would say we're going to 20K if we break this level? Probably a majority of the masses, right? The herd. But you know, I would love. I think the odds on, you know, right here, right? I'm just going to say this, is that we kind of dip below and then kind of reverse. And if we did that and we did it quickly, that would be a big sign for a lot of smart money coming back in. That kind of brief fake out and then a rocket ship up. So keep that in mind for the distant future. Maybe not so distant future. All right, so the weekly. What do we got on the weekly? We're still recording. Okay, good. That would suck. Done that before. Okay, so we're 9 red weeks in a row. Are we going to do 10? Well, we're not that far off of it, are we? So what would it take for us to close red again? I'm glad you asked. Closing below 29,447 would signal this red and would be yet another record 10 reds in a row. But, you know, are these candles, you know, by color they're red, but not really, right? They could have easily flipped green. More spinning top here, indecision candle, doji candle, right? And almost another one here. So these big decisive reds, okay. But, you know, having 10 reds by definition, yeah, could happen. But really, like, you got a couple reds here, a break, a breather, a rally up, then another, you know, maybe 3 reds, then, you know, 4 reds, okay, 4, maybe 5, you could argue. But then, you know, another rally up, right? We've attempted so far this week to make a move up again and still unsuccessfully closing above the 8-week EMA. So if you want to be really safe, again, that level, if we close a weekly candle above the EMA 8, then you have an argument to maybe potentially go long. That would also take out kind of these lows, right? You want to take out these lows, take out the EMA 8. A lot of big things could start to happen if that happens. But until that happens, I'd just simply lean more bearish than not until we're closing a weekly candle above the EMA 8. About as simple as you can make it, right? Okay, so that's the weekly. That's the summary, what you need to be watching for. This is, not a great looking candle so far, right? That is near a gravestone doji candle. Wick up, small candle body, closing almost at the same open as the close. Would not be so great. And, 29.8 would be pretty textbook gravestone doji, which doesn't necessarily have to mean more downside. Usually just signals the end of a trend. Usually you'd see that at the top, but here we are. So maybe we see it at the bottom this time. Maybe the bottom is in. Here's your 200-week SMA. So usually, historically, you should be familiar that is, a great place to be coming back in. There's the pandemic, right at the 200. Here's the 2018 bear market low, right? So keep that in mind. If we go down there quickly, if you see us, prices falling rapidly, I think we all have good memories of this wick right here. Something else could happen like that again. And then, that might be your best opportunity to at least, do yourself a favor and, not financial advice, but dollar cost average, buy something there in case that is the low, right? Historically, it hasn't lasted too long if and when we hit that level. So just throwing that out there. Let's get to that indicator that I was talking about, and that is none other than the ADX and DI. That's ADX space AND space DI, right? So the DI, right? The negative DI is the red. The positive DI is the green, right? You can think of it as bears and bulls. Then the ADX, the average directional index, is the orange. So that kind of leads you to your power of behind who's in charge. Whoever's in charge is on top. So right now we have the bears in charge, right? And this is the weekly scale. This is where I would suggest getting all your mass information, right? This will tell you exactly when a potential next bull cycle will kick off, right? Anytime the bull cycle kicks off, right? It doesn't mean it has to happen immediately, right? Because you had to cross here, but kind of, dilly-dally around. When you have your divergence on a weekly scale like this, and then your ADX, your average directional index, kicks up with the bulls, right? There you go, right? So we are not going into a bull market until the green is on top, for sure. There's not a whole lot of for sures in trading or crypto. This is the for sure. There will be no bull cycle until that green line is on top of that red line, right? Just like we did back in 2020, right? And then not only that, it doesn't mean you have to go immediately to the moon. You want to see your ADX bounce with the bulls, right? And then you have a really good odds of, your bull cycle continuing. And you can just go back in history on the weekly chart. Anytime the ADX and DI are green on top and orange up here, everyone's pretty happy. And vice versa, red's on top, not so happy, right? So look, 2018 bear market, 2022 bear market, and there you go. So looking at it on other time frames is okay, but the weekly is really kind of your big shtick. Okay, the daily, the bulls tried to take over just a couple days ago, right? And the bears slapped them right at the fence and reject them back down so far. But they are trying to fight here. So we'll see. The bears are losing a little bit of strength on the daily. So we'll see what happens in the next handful of days. Let me know if you've never heard of this. Don't use it. Plan on using it now. I would highly recommend at least checking in on it, once a week. And when you see these start to cinch up, maybe it's time to pay attention. But not always, if you get a cross, right? This isn't what you're looking for, right? You're looking for a cross, big cross. And even though this wasn't a full-blown, bull cycle, think back to last October. Go look at Bitcoin prices or altcoin prices. We were doing very well, right? Last October was, we were doing good. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. Quote of the day: it's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. This is definitely one of my top 10s, okay? Everything that you've experienced in your entire life has happened within yourself. It's your interpretation of any event, every person, every situation. Anything that you deem good or bad is all happened within yourself. If you don't like the way the world is, that's on you, right? How you interpret something good or bad, it's all happening from your eyes, from your perspective, right? So if you don't like the way it is, change your perspective. Do some different thinking. Car of the day: no more hypercars until bull market. We have to tone back the hypercars, the $1 million car. No Bugatti Bolides until bull mode. We're keeping it at, nice supercars. Okay. Hypercars. What's the difference, Chase? $1 million plus hypercar. No more. We're now, this is still a nice car. We're in an Audi. What is it, Chase? Audi RS3. So still very nice. Still like 80 grand. So just not to be messed around with. I really like this one. I love the new green that they're coming out with, and I love the black grille. Pretty nice. 2022 Audi RS3. So this is like it's the small compact, the 3, right? I love the RS5, RS5, yeah, RS5, RS7, sick cars. They make some nice cars when you get to the R lines. I'm not a big fan of the A line, but the R8, nice, right? The R line is cool, but the RS line, or the S line, that's what I meant. The S lines are okay. But if I was ever going to get an Audi, it'd have to be the RS, right? That's like their max tune. They get, different brakes, right? You can see the brakes. You get the better body kits. You get like the carbon fiber everywhere. And big differences to me from like the A line, which is like their entry level. And then you got the S line, which is better, right? A little bit tuned, but the RS line to me is ridiculously nice. One of the nicer ones for kind of like BMW's M or AMG Mercedes, right? So let me know. Do you like Audi best, Mercedes best, or BMW best? I know mine. Maybe you know mine. Any guesses? You don't care. Nobody's watching this far. All right, that's it. There's the back, there's the front, and we'll see you on Monday for another Bitcoin update. Hopefully tomorrow you guys are good enough, and we'll put out maybe a chain link bonus video, something like that. Maybe we'll start doing a couple more videos throughout the weeks now that it's summertime and my kids are out of school. So we'll see. Their last day is today. All right. Not that you care or even need to know. Hopefully you're doing well. This bear market sucks. I get it. Your goal right now is just to survive, right? Hopefully you haven't lost a ton of money, right? You could be down, right? But down is not lost, right? Until you sell, right? Or you get, margin called or, liquidated if you're being stupid. I've made some stupid mistakes. I'm down and lost quite a bit. But I'll be back. All right, that's it. What's quite a bit? It's definitely, it's a lot. You can buy several of those cars.